So guys, welcome back to Ranting with Wrenches. Today your host Joe and your other host Ricky Martinez.
Really? I
Today
will smack you with this wrench.
we're gonna be talking about turbocharged versus supercharged. So basically like some background on it, like what's the difference between a turbocharged, what's the difference between a supercharged. What's your take on it first?
So obviously, for anybody who doesn't know the difference, the turbochargers are exhaust driven, while superchargers are belt driven.
Yes, sir.
Turbochargers are more commonly found. Well, nowadays they're pretty much found everywhere.
Yeah.
Big engines, little engines, it doesn't matter. Hybrids, what have you. Superchargers are still primarily popular amongst V6s, V8s, V10s.
Yeah.
You know, pretty much any type of a big block kind of car, drag strip car, stuff like that. Back in the day, I would have said give me a supercharger all day long, all day. Instant torque, wheelies all the way down the track.
Mm-hmm.
You know, instant tire burning, no waiting, no hitting a specific rev range for the turbo to kick in. Just foot down, full send. But
Back then was supercharged, how you say it, more known than turbocharged at that moment? Because I don't think turbocharged was that big of a thing back then, or was it?
well, it was known about, but it was always attributed to small cars, like Japanese cars.
Yeah.
To like Hondas, Acura, Nissan, Datsun, even some of the smaller European brands, some of the smaller like diesels. You know, you knew for diesels
Yeah.
you needed a turbocharger to create the force in the system for the combustion. But when it came to like street racing, track racing, you know, it was either a high displacement motor, or if you had a high displacement motor and you needed a lot more bang, you went with a supercharger.
Instant torque.
Instant torque.
Instant.
Especially for what, a quarter mile race?
Yeah, I read
Not,
that, yeah.
you know, you put a supercharger, you get a Mustang, you know, classic battle, Mustang versus Camaro. You know what I mean? You slap a supercharger on there, whoever can put the torque down the best wins. You know what I mean? So it becomes power transmitting down to the wheels. You see those cars squat and just zoom. But now with turbochargers, it's more about who can more efficiently hit their power band and maximize their power, the distance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not as much takeoff as it is get there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because with turbochargers, you could start off racing from a dig, but it's gonna be boring until somebody hits about 4,500 to $5,000 on the RPM. With a supercharger, you do a couple revs, those cars go quiet, that light turns, and you just see squat and go.
That's crazy. I seen cars like that.
If you and like any HRA races, especially like you go down south a lot, they're still very, very popular. But specifically for big block cars, where you're doing drag races. You know what I mean? I know even a lot of those guys are going turbos too. You know what I mean? Like diesels, dude, they kill it with the torque. But those turbos are huge. Huge. That's why you see so much black smoke.
You gotta. Look how big those things are.
I know.
Ridiculous.
Well, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? Obviously, you know, we know that, you know, we both got turbo setups. You know what I mean? But those are from the factory. Those are both factory set up turbo vehicles. If you were going to go and set up a vehicle to, let's say let's say just, you know, illegal street races. You know, let's do some 90s stuff. Under the cloak of darkness. What are you putting under the hood? You gonna cut a hole in your hood and put a whipple charger in there?
Nope.
Little Toretto action.
Toretto. This guy's funny.
Fast and Furious coming out this Friday. I don't know.
Don't pay no mind. We don't sponsor them.
No.
Not yet.
No.
I would do
You get a sponsor. I'm quitting my job. No, I'm just playing. No, nobody say nothing about that.
I would like to see supercharged. You know what I mean? Always, you know, we all know turbocharged. We know how it feels. We know if you put a bigger one in, you're gonna get lag, but also you're gonna feel there's a difference between power. You know what I mean? Difference between putting you in the seat. We already know that. Supercharger, not many people has experience with those, in the sense of driving it, putting it in, or
nowadays,
even, you know, test driving it with somebody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And feeling that instant power. That's what I like. You know what I mean?
think like
I like that instant power. I want to feel that rather than waiting for a turbo to spool up, depending on how big it is. Then all of a sudden,
but even with a small turbocharger, you put it in, you might get instant torque, but it's gonna drop off real quick.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
You get no top end power on it.
Like I think probably was it like BMWs, like the 330, 335i's with the is it 335 or 330? I think it's the 335i's. Twin turbocharged inline six, baby supers, or German supers is what they call it. The motors, they don't hold up worth a damn, but they can put out big power, and they have a sequential turbo setup. So one's a little bit smaller, and then the other one's a little bit bigger. So you have your low to mid, and then your mid to low. So you get the constant build, and what a lot of guys like doing, kind of similar to some of the Skylines, is they'll take either a single like medium turbo setup, and they'll go to like you said, they'll increase their sequential setup, or they'll just go to one massive turbo with a twin scroll setup, so you're getting the pulses from each side of the motor churning each individual turbine.
Reduce that lag.
Yeah, you reduce the lag, and you're making the most, you're taking the most opportunity from both theoretical banks of the engine, because basically all it is an inline. Like, you're still pulsing at different rates because of the inline setup, but you can still kind of theoretically separate the front three from the rear three and still have like almost a dual bank kind of action for the turbo. But with that supercharger, you hear that whine coming down the street.
It's basically, it's just an air compressor. That's what it is.
It's exactly what it is. Just an air compressor mounted to the top. Yeah. But the one thing though, for supercharger, you've got to like get it kind of like machined and fit specifically for your motor. So like you're taking off your intake manifold. So for like V6 or V8 motor, you're taking off that intake manifold and you're getting it set up so it sits right there.
Yeah.
And then like then the belt driven, and then you can get bigger belts, smaller belts, lightweight pulleys, you know, insane. And you know, you still gotta tune them based on the car. Like if you get like an older muscle car, the tuning is very simple. Like the old carburetors, you just a little bit of fuel, a little bit of gas, you know, and then you just keep dialing it until it's right. Nowadays, you better tune that. You better tune that.
That's amazing. Yeah.
But it'll put you in your seat. It'll put you back. And I think they're actually more reliable than a turbo.
Oh, most definitely.
Because you know damn well, most cars, from the manufacturer, turbos are restricted so that you get more gas mileage than you do power. and people love hearing them things spool up.
You know what that
Love
means.
hearing them spool up. So it's only a matter of time before bearings are fried, seals are busted, the turbine get shit out.
That's the thing. I always tell people, a lot of like the Honda people, they ask me like, "Oh, should I put a turbo in it?" I'm like, I don't know. I'll stay away from that. You know, I have experience in it. It's a headache. You know what I mean? It's different factors. Once you put a turbo in your car, there's different factors of what could possibly happen to your car now.
Well, you automatically eliminate the reliability of your car.
Exactly.
Especially if the setup isn't specifically for a turbo.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have your engine. Anything happen, you look at your engine. You put a turbo, you gotta check the turbo. Probably pull it out. You gotta check all your lines.
Big time.
You gotta check your downpipe. You gotta check this. It's like a whole bunch of headaches you gotta deal with.
Yes.
So,
but if you find a place that sells a kit that has had success, more than likely you can slap a turbo onto your Honda or whatever vehicle you use, but it's probably going to be very small.
yeah.
It's probably going to be a very, very small one, because if your engine isn't set up to handle the pressure of a turbo, then you're if you go bigger than what was it, the manufacturer Borg Warner code for like the smallest turbo to have is a KO3. You know what I mean? Even like the newer versions of KO3, that's the smallest they got. So if you are starting off with like a 50 trim, you're gonna blow your motor in a week. Maybe the moment you start the car.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because most people think just put it in and go.
Oh yeah. All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
Every single time. There was actually somebody who asked about the side mount intercooler.
Okay, I saw
that video that I made, and he asked if a big turbo would work with a side mount intercooler, and I was like, I wouldn't go that route. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I told him, if you're going higher than a KO4, go front mount, because not only will you're going to need that much better airflow, the pressure that it's generating is going to be that much more. Because once you get to the Franken turbo setup, the big turbo setup, and anything above, you need that extra
cooling.
piping and cooling, because you figure it's maybe 3.5 to 5 foot travel from the turbo down to the intercooler and then up into the intake. That's not going to be that's not enough cooling and traveling for a big turbo. You're going to blow your motor. Like you'll freaking spool up the first time, fucking oil panel come off, turbo's gonna fly off, you're gonna seals everywhere, coolant lines are flying.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I would be interested in seeing that. Not on my car, not on the guy I answered, but somebody's car. I'm gonna look up on YouTube.
So which one would you go with?
At any point or
turbo
today?
Or at any point? Turbo
or
supercharged? Which one would you choose?
I know.
Let's put it this way: if somebody came to you right now and said, "Listen, I got this $2,000 turbo.
Here's the
I got
problem.
this setup
Here's the
supercharged
problem.
right now."
I've grown to love the turbos. I've grown to love the turbos. But I also appreciate very much what a supercharger can do. So based on the motor I've got, if I've got a V6 or higher, I'm going with a supercharger.
Okay.
If I'm going if I've got like an inline 4, a 4-cylinder inline 5, maybe even like an inline 6. V6, like any V engine, I'm going with a supercharger. Any inline engine, I'm gonna go with a turbo.
That's reasonable. Makes sense.
I like having a little bit of everything. I can't help it. I'm greedy. What about you? If you were given let's see, what's a good if you were given a brand new Dodge Charger Scat Pack, what are you doing? Don't think of the heritage of the car. Don't think of the heritage. Just, you got a big old, 4.7 liter V8 Hemi, tuned up to 392 horsepower, which I still believe is underrated for insurance reasons. Let's say about 420. You got about 420 going to the rear wheels. You supercharging it, or you putting the twin turbo package on there?
Supercharged.
All right.
Something that big, you need power right away.
Immediately.
I mean,
Yep.
I'm not even playing with them.
You need to hold down that brake, mash the gas, kill some tires.
Or kill some people. Who knows?
Oh, we're gonna leave that off right there. Wrench Daily.